significantly messing with the photograph?
Exactly right. Exactly right. So here's a quote from the photographer who said, quote, "In many images, Bentley did not limit himself to improving the outlines. He let his knife play deep inside the heart of the crystals so that fully arbitrary figures emerged."
Oh, so he's...
Well, I don't know. That doesn't seem so... no longer a candid, is it?
Well, that's the question. So they basically lob this, and this is kind of going in these journals. But Bentley basically launches a counterattack. And what he says is that, in fact, those guys are wrong, that not correcting your photographs was, and he used this word like perverse. To him, why wouldn't you remove specks of dust or other imperfections? Why photograph a broken snowflake when you could photograph a complete one? So this is a quote from Bentley. He said, "A true scientist wishes above all to have his photographs as true to nature as possible. And if retouching will help in this respect, then it is fully justified."
So he thought his retouched snowflakes were truer than the normal ones?
Yeah, exactly. The scientist is supposed to be kind of this very experienced, almost like a sage, who has seen every different variation on a snowflake, but can sort of bring that all together in one drawing, one sketch, one photograph, and that's the true snowflake.
So if I brought him a slightly gloppy snowflake and said, "Look, this is what fell on my nose, and this is a true snowflake because it actually fell from the sky and it's, it was unenhanced," he would say that.
He would say, "Robert, you're an amateur. Like this is this is not good work. This is an aberration. This is an abnormality. Why would you choose to kind of highlight an abnormality as opposed to kind of this true ideal snowflake?"
And does that one exist? I mean, that's the key question for me. Like, does the ideal snowflake exist in nature?
You think there are such things as exquisitely beautiful?
I would like to think that there are.
No, so I think if my facts are right, the world snowflake expert is actually in Pasadena, California. All right, check.
In sunny Southern California?
Yeah. I'm wearing a T-shirt. I have sunscreen lathered, and I am going to talk to the World Authority on Snow. How are you? His name is Ken Liebrecht. He's a professor of physics at Caltech. He is, in a way, he's like the modern-day Wilson Bentley because he takes a ton of snowflake pictures.
I've taken about 10,000 now. So
and he actually makes snowflakes.
Oh, yeah.
Artificially. Okay, wow. So this is a giant tank. This is of nitrogen here?
Never mind that.
Okay.
Yeah,
and to get to your question about the ideal snowflake, a few things. So number one, there are a bajillion different kinds.
Dendritic crystals, stellar dendrites, needles and columns and hollow columns and sectored plates.
So that's one thing. The second thing is that snowflakes are never static. They're never one thing. So at every single moment as it falls to the earth, it's either growing or shrinking, depending on the kind of trajectory through the different pockets of weather as it's moving down. So there is no real platonic ideal form of a snowflake because it's so in flux.
I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect snowflake.
But that doesn't stop Ken Liebrecht from looking.
I tried up in Tahoe and Japan, Vermont, Michigan.
He travels all over the world looking for Bentley's perfect flakes.
Alaska. I've been to Alaska, Sweden. But my favorite spot is Northern Ontario. A little town called Cochrane.
Population 5,487. So where do you go in Cochrane? Do you just anywhere? They're just falling all over the place?
Mostly it's the parking lot of my hotel.
He says there's a lot of waiting involved.
It only really snows well about once a week.
And even then, things have to be Goldilocks perfect.
If the clouds are too high, then they evaporate a little on the way down. They don't look very pretty.
Or
if the clouds are too light or too heavy.
That's bad too.
And a lot of times the temperature's wrong.
If you want those Christmas card supermodel snowflakes, you need to have exactly
minus 15. That's 5 degrees Fahrenheit.
You need to have high humidity, not so much wind, so that they'll putter down slowly and have more time to grow.
But every once in a while, I mean, when the conditions are right, you go outside all, hopeful and anticipating, and it's like, oh, crap. There's nothing garbage out here. So you go back inside and read some more email, and you come back a half an hour later. Nope, still lousy. And a half hour later, nope, still lousy. And you do this for hours, and then all of a sudden they'll get really good. And then I'm just out there frantically trying to collect as many as I can. Well, one of the things I like to think about is here I am with my little piece of cardboard in the middle of a continent where it's snowing all the time. And so I am catching some incredibly small number of these things for a brief period and getting some really cool pictures. And so you kind of wonder what else is out there? What are you missing? I mean, imagine just all the beautiful little works of art that are just falling down totally unnoticed, and then they just disappear. I mean, stuff that it's far prettier than, the pictures I have, because they're out there. They're out there. Statistically, they're out there. And so, there's just an awful lot of really gorgeous things that just are, like you say, they're just totally ephemeral and you'll never see them. And they're falling constantly. So you sort of want to just stop the world and, go look at them.
Yeah.
Thanks to Latif Nasser and to Ken Liebrick, who wrote the book The Secret Life of a Snowflake.
This is Matt and Neely Dawson from Asheville, North Carolina, and bliss is this sound. That's the sound of my 7-month-old daughter reacting to my puppy dog licking her feet.
Hi, my name is Igor and I'm calling from Novi Sad, Serbia. Bliss is Indiana Jones! All 3 parts.
Hi, Radio Lab. This is Steve Strogatz. Bliss is the taste of hot pastrami at Katz's Deli in the Lower East Side of New York City. We live 4 or 5 hours away from New York and don't get there very often. And so I spend a lot of time in between visits thinking about that first taste of the hot pastrami. So for me, that's bliss. I get to think about some kind of almost unattainable perfection. Except then it is attainable. I just show up and there it is.
This is Mary Roach and I'm in Oakland, California, and I have a list of bliss. My bliss list. Number 1, laughing uncontrollably. Number 2, zero gravity. Number 4, the first 10 seconds in a hot, hot bath. Number 9, a raw oyster. Very fresh, but no larger than an infant's ear.